Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today's session. And this is indeed a pleasure to welcome you all of today's session. This is the session that we actually wanted to share the experience of Bangladesh and the sharing our knowledge in terms of renewable energy and the impact on climate. And we are very happy to have our four of the speakers. And we are very happy that on behalf of Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association to organize this session, we'd like to thank South Asia Regional Resilience Hub, COP6, for organizing the session for us. And I'd like to introduce our today's speakers. We have our president, Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association, Mr. Dipal Chandra Borua, and we have our senior vice president, Mr. Nurul Akhtar, and our Vice President of Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association, Mr. Monohar Mesbah Moin. And I'm expecting Mr. Johir Alam, the other Vice President and other speaker, to join very soon with us. Without any further introduction, I would like to actually ask our President to share the keynote presentation that would be on energy access and resilience of Bangladesh, potentials and challenges. So this is would be the topic and keynote presentation. I hope you all enjoy the session, and the mic is over to you, sir. President Dipal Chandra Borua.
Thank you, Dr. Mathur, our Secretary General. Good morning to all. I'm very happy to Mr. Alauddin also join from the Glasgow in our session. So our and thanks for ICAB, Professor Selimul Haq, and also the team. And we are now presenting our experience in Bangladesh and what we are looking for in the future. First one is the I would like to explain our situation now. 166 million people living in Bangladesh, and we are hoping 200 million by 2041. And Bangladesh aiming a middle-income country by 2025, and 2041 we are aiming for a developed country. So far, 25,000 megawatt plus installed capacity and 560 kilowatt hour per capita consumption, and the government approaching 99.75% electricity coverage, including renewable energy, solar energy, and target is 10% total capacity from renewable sources. And you know, we have done a very good job in Millennium Development Goal, and also we are doing also SDGs, and you know, our approach is very intensive, and we have a SDG implementation and monitoring committee at the Prime Minister office and a special cell in the Prime Minister level office. So I think the government has a very serious attention on this, and we are doing seriously, and our private sector also very much active, proactive. On the first 2 decades, country has experienced a rapid rise in energy consumption. This trend will intensify further in the coming years. As the country progresses, there is also a growing demand for electricity. So, you know, the SDG and Goal 7 is connected to 13 and SDGs. So it's very important, the modern energy. We are working on that. You know, in Bangladesh, solar home system, around 6 million system. If you multiply by 5 people in a family, around 30 million people are involved. Rooftop solar is growing, and the state are playing a very important role for net metering policy. So it's gradually coming up. Solar irrigation is our prime project, also 43 megawatt, and solar mini grid is there. Solar street light, wind energy 2.9 megawatt, and recently the survey found that the wind resource mapping is Bangladesh with a potentials in wind resource mapping also. Biomass and biogas-based electricity are producing, and a hydro we have 230 megawatt. A total 860 megawatt from renewable sources in Bangladesh. And the solar home system is 1990 started as around 12 to 15% people are using solar home system, and it is the 6 million is the largest in the world. So in case of energy access, this is the very successful model in the world, and the Africa and Southeast Asia replicating this model from the experience of Bangladesh. And the JICA, ADB, KfW, Islamic Development Bank, UNDP, World Bank, DFID, all are GIZ, all joined in this financing of this. So that, you know, people enjoy this when there is no electricity, they get the solar, and this is a public participation in human resources, and everybody enjoyed. And mobile phone growing from 1997, and solar home system playing a very important role. So from the solar home system, the solar irrigation, solar street light, rooftop solar, solar AC/DC system, grid-tie solar megawatt projects, and community-based solar program and green factory is coming up in Bangladesh. I will show you some our achievement. Innovative financial mechanism reduce the cost of monthly correction cost to have a solar home system. Rural level assembling, we have a and also the all components we are producing in Bangladesh. 100,000 new jobs created, and Green Technology Center will train women at the ground level, extended working hours for better economic conditions and better future for children, because the education is very important under the solar light in the place of kerosene lamp, is both health hazard and also carbon emission is growing. And then the solar panel is solar system also playing a very important role for education. And this is the ownership model, everybody paying a saving kerosene cost, and they become the owner of this system. And carbon emission reduction, you know, every system of 50 watt, they're reducing 1 ton of carbon emission reduction every year. So we said the foreign currency, fossil fuel import reduce, and is solar home system is socially accepted all over the country. Everybody likes it. And you know, communication increases, education, women empowerment, and reduce household burden on women. Health also, the refrigeration and the solar run clinic, disaster management, providing electricity, support to the cyclone shelter, because any cyclone happen in Bangladesh, the electricity gone for 2 weeks or 1 week, 3 weeks, the solar panel, solar energy play a very important role in instantaneously electricity is there, and mobile phone working, and the disaster mitigation is also very useful. Environment, replacing kerosene, also reducing the, and also train young women and women in the rural area. Around 5,000 they are producing solar accessories in the rural area in the early days. And also we train women how to install the system in the house, and so that created a hope for also women empowerment, income generation. And the biogas we have done, and the from the cow and poultry litters, and improve food stocks also, and SEDA also have a household platform for improving cook stocks, and so also helping to and also kerosene is being replaced with the solar system, and to increase productivity and income generation in the dark. So any industry, any productive uses solar playing a very important role. So we are also promoting. Then solar irrigation benefiting the farmers and the nation. You know, that's also replacing the, you know, in Pustia, you see the panel installation and the pump house and the growing paddy and everything. And you know, the right corner you see this is the traditional diesel pump that we are now abandoning to a solar irrigation pump. So 1.13 million solar irrigation pump in Bangladesh, conventional diesel run, and we are gradually replacing the solar. And this Tanzania team and member of Parliament of Tanzania visiting us and pushed to them. They are very much encouraged when they're back, and they are replicating Bangladesh experience in Tanzania with the help of World Future Council. So in the banana garden also, electricity, water is provided by the solar irrigation pump. We trained farmers, and the Bangladesh television broadcast the experience of these. So these are, and the net metering policy, our SEDA chairman, that Mr. Halaluddin, we started a solar irrigation, grid integration for benefiting the power. 50% time we are using for irrigation, and 50% time we are transferring electricity to the grid line. Right now, 16.6 megawatt hour energy we have already been transmitted to the national grid. So this is an initiative, I think, grid integration. If the cost available from international sources and other sources, we can 1.13 million irrigation pump can be transferred to solar pump and also grid tie. So there are a lot of benefit. One is the cost of irrigation reduces 40%, and we have a less water lifting from the underground water, because when you need, you just lifting water. Other time you just transfer the electricity to the grid line. So there are multiple benefits from the solar irrigation, and also you don't need to import fossil fuel from the abroad, and also foreign exchange you can save, and also this is we call it carbon emission reduction is also reducing, and also greening the electricity grid line also. So there are multiple benefits. There are utilizing this solar arm pump is possible to generate more than 6,000 megawatt from the and rooftop is growing huge potential. Bangladesh is a densely populated country. Every year is the industry growing, commercial building is growing, housing is growing. So we need net metering policy playing a very important role. So we don't need require any land, so that only we need a financial mechanism process, then it will grow quickly. So we have already 50 megawatt from the rooftop already producing for the net metering, and I think it will jump. And now the Korean industrial area, they are also implementing some projects. I think there is a very positive response, but we need a financing and business model to grow it. And the solar street light is growing because in the rural area, in the graveyard, in the marketplaces.
Would you mind, Dipalda, if I can interrupt you for a while? Are you actually sharing any slides? Because we don't see any slides. No. Are you sharing any slide?
Yes.
Yes, we can see the slide.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going too fast because of the 7 utility scale solar 175 megawatt already connected to the grid line. I think this is a positive one in Bangladesh. And also arsenic, solar power arsenic treatment plant I have been installed. And this is an idea, solarizing secondary towns. This is Salimul Haq already given idea that there is 18 million people have if there is a water rise, sea level rise, then it will create a problem. So that we have Patna, Bogura, Jashore, Nathur, Manisi. There are some districts, there is no such water level rise. So it's an idea only. We like to go because of the time constraint. Community-based solar potentials in Bangladesh, there are more than 100,000 primary school, about to 67,000 secondary school, 30,000 college and university, 53,000 madrasa, 300,000 mosque and temple. So all the rooftop we can go in this building. It will be an immense opportunity for us actually. And this one is interesting. 135 garment factory already received LED leadership in energy and environmental design. 500 more in line. See one green factory. These are the best factory in the world in Bangladesh. There are worse factory, but the green factory is growing. The best factory now of the world in Bangladesh now growing. So this is the renewable energy in the top. This is really a potential. Bangladesh has more than 4,600 garments factory there. So the impacts of climate change in Bangladesh. Now we like to discuss about the impact of climate change in Bangladesh. Saline water intrusion in the southern part of the country affecting agriculture, increasing river erosion and destroying homes, school, agriculture, lands, properties, and livelihood. Frequent cyclones, floods, droughts, and landslides, increasing temperature affecting work environment and health, sea level rise, water logging in different cities and areas. Women and children are more vulnerable at the negative impact of the climate change. So these are affecting our Bangladesh. And the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina announced on Monday 1st of November in COP26, Bangladesh has one of the world's most extensive domestic solar energy program. We hope to have a 40% country's energy from renewable sources by 2041. This is one of the extensive programs coming up. We are going to implement MUJI Climate Prosperity Plan, a journey from climate vulnerability to resilience to climate prosperity. So this is a very hopeful program, but recommendation, Bangladesh is one of the most climate vulnerable countries, though it contributes less than 0.5% of the global emission. Actually, Bangladesh is affected by the global warming, but Bangladesh is not responsible for this cost. We need following assistance from the international communities like UN organization, international financing institutions like World Bank, IMF, Green Climate Fund, Asian Development Bank, and other international partners and organizations, including regional and international climate initiatives. One, assistance for technology transfer and funding for research, transfer of clean and green technology, and affordable cost to address the climate change impacts. Assistance for capacity development. We need a capacity development in human resources, training, research, planning capacity, and other skill development. Funding. We need a concessional fund, grant funding, revolving fund, and other different climate funding to achieve our vision. To achieve the goal of the Bangladesh, our Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, announced to have 40% countries' energy from renewable sources by 2041. We implement the Mujib Climate Prosperity Plan. We need funding, technology transfer, and capacity building from international organizations and partners. So these are our demands so that we can grow. This is my presentation. So let us discuss about the future of Bangladesh. And we have a good experience, but we have this kind of assistance available. We can grow in a very positive way. And though we are not responsible for global warming, but we can create an example, positive example in the globally. Thank you.
Thank you, President Dipal Borua, for your excellent insight and presentation on Bangladesh perspective and the experience and resilience of Bangladesh and access to energy. It is indeed a pleasure to have a panel of discussion. It's a very powerful panel of discussion we have from private sector representatives. May I have the honor to introduce the Senior Vice President of Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association, Engineer Nur Akhtar, and CEO and Director, Energy Pack Electronics. He is a pioneer in this sector and also playing a vital role in the development of renewable energy and energy efficiency sector in Bangladesh. He is representing a huge, large conglomerate Energy Pack Group. And I would now request our Senior Vice President of Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association to share his views on the keynote presentation. Thank you very much. Mike is over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Datta. And thanks to Dipal for presenting and sharing the information on energy access and resilience in Bangladesh. It was really very elaborate, and Mr. Dipal covered almost all the issues. I just want to share few informations. First of all, this is indeed a great pleasure that I have the opportunity to speak something on this occasion. We have identified the need, this COP26. And by this time, we benchmark the target of RE addition in our country. Over a period of decade, we could add up 800 megawatt plus RE so far. But if we consider the target of 2030, then we need to add up almost again the 3,000 more, though we have 800, but because of the access to electricity, a good venture of the government, which just finished, that almost 99% households are connected with the grid electricity. So a sizable amount of green will be phased out, already phased out, that is 300 and almost 300 to 400. So basically, our achievement is not more than 400 plus of RE. So this is going to be a great challenge for Bangladesh to achieve the RE target by 2030, because it's really needs a lot of efforts, a lot of issues to be considered. Dipal already raised the issues, the low-cost fund, but fund is not the issue. Issue is the fixing the priority. How faster we can go for the adaptation, and how faster we can work together with the energy efficiency to reach our target. If we consider RE inclusion 3000 megawatt, at the same time, we need to consider another 10% of energy savings. So these two are challenged. So if we talk about the challenge and tenure, the fastest process, the identification of the sector which can be implemented in a faster way. At this moment, I think the fastest way to implement is the cross-border RE import, which can help us to achieve the target on time. Of course, by this time, we can give priority to the net metering, which is really a sustainable project for long term. And it requires the identification of the factories and building. Though we have over 4,000 garment industry, but each garment industry, they have some compliance issue of not occupying the whole roof for the generation. So that's a bottleneck. But other than the textile factory, the big factories, they have enough roof. Now, some issues to be raised, that compulsion and mandatory of net metering in implementation. The question is, both the OPEX and CAPEX model are available, but awareness and because of the fund and costs, these are not getting popular. So for generating 3,000 megawatt, roughly $3 billion is required. So where this money will come, that's one of the issue. And for saving 10% of energy, is another $1 billion is required. Though energy efficiency capital expenditure is 1/3 of RE inclusion, we have to look both the things together. So I have a specific proposal or way forward that recently under the initiative of SREDA, the roadmap is in progress. It was there, but some modification and to make it a more realistic, it is in progress. We'll have the way forward, how to implement this big challenge within a very short time, like within next 8 years. And we do have another big projects, Mujib Climate Prosperity Fund, that is really going to have a tripling the RE within next 10 years. So first 8 years is a challenge for 3,000, and next 10 years is really a big challenge for almost 40,000. Then by that time, our energy will reach 40,000 megawatt. So almost 16,000 megawatt. So it is really, really big challenge. So I give emphasis on the cross-border energy import, which is more feasible nowadays, depending on the privatization of the grid and investing to the third country. The people now they have capacity to invest, our country's people, in third country like Bhutan and Nepal, and few projects are in pipeline. And at the same time, the PGCB also inviting expression of interest for the private grid operation, and also same with our neighboring country. So this is one of the most viable project to fill our core target. Next priority will come the floating solar or net metering and the floating solar. Floating solar comes reason behind we have the limitation and land uses, because most of the country land is fertile and it is agricultural land. This is hard to get a barren land where there is nothing grows. So that could be another challenge for us. And in thinking and prioritization, I have another suggestion of a green fund initiation, which can be raised through generating the green fund, and compulsory for investing in green fund that can generate a significant amount of money, and allocation in the national budget is also another priority. So for such a big target, 16,000 megawatt, I think time has come to think, and it is the time to focus RE and energy efficiency under the full-fledged division, and with the national allocation in the national budget. And moreover, the awareness is also very important, because still many of the capable people are not aware of this global challenge. I do appreciate for listening my few words, and I am expecting from the other speaker to speak on how we can implement this challenge faster. If somebody has some new ideas, we'll like to accept that one and give our proposal to government through BSRE, that this could be the faster way of implementation and this big challenge. Thank you all for listening my words.
Thank you very much, Engineer Nurul Akhtar, and the Senior Vice President of Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association, for your wonderful presentation, sharing your insight. And of course, we will discuss about it after all the presentation is done. We will have a question answer session. So I would request the audience to kindly take a note of it, so that at the end of the session, we can open the floor and discuss issues that you want to share with us. Without any further ado, I would like to actually move on to the next speaker. He is none but our Vice President of the association, a very dedicated person to the solar and renewable energy and implementation of the projects, and also energy storage. He is possibly one of the person who actually led the energy storage in Bangladesh. I would request our next speaker, Mr. Munwar Misbah Moin, Group Director, Rema Pros, to kindly share his views and share his presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Datta, and everybody. Good morning, Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, wherever you are. I think the topic is definitely appropriate in terms of all the big numbers and the big goals that's talked in the conference. People actually tend to forget the whole, the bottom of the pyramid, the last mile people. So Mr. Dipal Borua's presentation on energy access and resilience is actually helpful in bringing back that attention. So what happens in countries like Bangladesh is that even after all the electrifications of the world, millions will still remain with inconsistent or inaccess to, or not having access to energy. And that is the reality of life if you see in Bangladesh, India, Africa, or even in South America. So that's why the focus on energy access is consistently key, irrespective of the big goals that happens. And Bangladesh has shown the ability to do access projects very successfully at the home level. Now the goal should be to take it up to the productive level. I think that is the challenge, that taking the energy access and bringing in the whole resilience aspect by focusing on taking it to the last mile with productive use of renewable energy, which we know some of it is happening through irrigation, some trying to take place through mini grids. There could be cold storages, milk chillers, and even the most wonderful thing happening in Bangladesh is that the mass transport rural is happening to electric vehicles. There are more than 1.5 million electric vehicles transporting over 15 million people every day in rural Bangladesh. So that gives a huge opportunity for electric vehicle charging, bringing in clean technology, solar to it, improving the energy efficiency, and so many things. So what we want is that, I believe, along with what Mr. Dipal Borua has said correctly, is that keep the focus on this whole last mile of millions of people who still needs their access to energy, but perhaps for a different reason, more for productive reason, and ensure that at any case, this energy helps them to be resilient. This energy must help them to be resilient in terms of health, security, productivity, overall economic upliftment. And of course, such energy access and resilience-driven programs will always ensure at the end of the day that we maintain our energy security, we maintain our sustainability, economic viability, and every last-minute delivery of energy is done efficiently. As you can see that already our energy input dependency has increased. Our energy input dependency has increased imported fuel, and that is already having a dramatic impact on Bangladesh budgets. LPG prices and all that are skyrocketing right now. So Bangladesh must play a very balanced role in ensuring that the last mile access to energy and productivity takes place with distributed generation of power, which can be done the best with renewable energy, and in this case, solar. The other important thing to note when we do all this is convergence of sectors and technologies. We should not be myopic, only thinking about energy. It should be energy, technology, IoT, mobile, telephoning, apps. So the AI-based, softwares. So we and all the fourth industrial revolution. Imagine applying the fourth industrial revolution and the AI technology in our biggest natural resources like agriculture, livestock. It is significant. And imagine doing all this, focusing on our natural resources, and our next big resource is our people resource, improving the people's skill sets towards production efficiency. So again, the whole energy access game, the agenda, the mandate must focus whether we are augmenting our natural resources, which is mainly agriculture, livestock, and things like that, and fisheries, and also our people resource, their skill sets. Is it actually improving, adding on to their skill set, which brings in productive users, and then the whole economies evolve and move on. So it's very, very important. I'll re-emphasize on top of what Mr. Dipal has presented, that we cannot forget the need of access to energy, resilience of the millions of who are in the last mile. And it gets clouded in the picture of the megawatt gains. So it's very, very important that the right plan based on their natural resources, requirements, and capabilities and abilities that can be augmented is done like that, with the right business model, with the right financing and policy support, and bringing all together, as we have set the best example with solar home system. I'm sure all our members out there in the association and policymakers also realize that Bangladesh can set even much more global records like that in doing innovative business models in the area of last mile and decentralized generation. And Rooftop is actually one of the best decentralized approach to generating solar energy, and doing it very efficiently and cost effective. And we should definitely thank the government and SEDA in getting the net meter going on, and we hope to see much more happening in that area soon. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to give my points and recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Buddha sir, Monar Bhai, for your wonderful presentation. And of course, what you have said is very insightful, and we need to actually have those papers. I have already noted it down, and these are the way forward. I would now request our next speaker to speak. He is none but our Vice President, Mr. Jahidul Alam. Mr. Jahidul Alam is the co-founder of Engreen Engineering Limited, widely recognized for his pioneer solar power plant, which has been supplying green power to the national grid since 2017. Mr. Alam believes in leading by example, and first ever solar power plant done by his company Engreen has already provided to the snowballing effect on this renewable energy sector to come forward. With much of introduction, I would like to hear more from the person. Can I invite Mr. Jahidul Alam, Vice President, Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association, to kindly present his views and share his insight with the audience, please. Thank you, Mr. Jahidul Alam.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Datta. Am I audible?
Yes, you are clear.
Okay, thank you. So a very good afternoon to you all. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Deepal for insights of our current energy conditions, issues, challenges, and the achievements so far. Also, my other colleague for putting their views. Flooding in Germany, Belgium, heat waves and hurricanes in US for the rich world to really sit up and take notice. It impacts begin to slam rich nations as well as poor nations with about 200 Germany this year. Now it is showing its fatality in all geographical regions north of the earth. Existential threats. One is COVID-19, and another one is of course the loss and damages and for us, defects and forms of climbingly falling into the category of loss and damage. And Bangladesh in Bangladesh,
Sorry, seems his internet connection may be going down.
We are having some difficulties, right? We are having some difficulties. I think let him come back again and rejoin again. In the meantime, we can have some views from, we have an honored guest with us, the chairman of Sustainable and Renewable Energy Development Authority of Bangladesh, Mr. Mohammad Alauddin. Can we actually have some, sir, can we have some of your comments and views on our presentation, today's presentation? We are honored to have you, sir.
Thank you, Datta. I am also happy to see all the legendary faces of renewable energy in Bangladesh. Our Dipal Barua, Mr. Dipal Barua, Manohar Misbah Moin, and also Nurul Akhtar. I have seen your presentations. Basically, we have taken well note of this, and I will also appreciate if you mail me the presentations. And definitely today, our Honorable State Minister has a session at 11:30 Glasgow time.
Okay.
He will also make his presentation. Definitely, I will carry your message to him.
Thank you.
So,
I'll send the message. Yeah, I'll transfer this.
So, and I will convey your expectation to the Honorable State Minister, who will be making presentation today at 11:30 in Glasgow.
Very good. Yeah.
With this, thank you. What I have only offer my greetings to you that you have already arranged a webinar on stating the Bangladesh position.
Yes.
Thank you so much for involving me.
Now, thank you so much. You are always involved with us. We are closely associated with SREDA, and we are working. Our president, Mr. Dipal Chandra Borua, is one of the also member of the board of SREDA. And of course, we will communicate our presentation and position paper and recommendation challenges that we face to SREDA also. At this point, can I request our president, Dipal Chandra Borua, to kindly share a few words, the takeaway messages that you want in the COP26. I also see Mr. Jahid has actually rejoined. If you can hear us, Mr. Jahid, can I request to kindly continue your presentation? Mr. Jahidul Alam, I see you with us. Can you unmute and share your continue your presentation, please?
So, okay, sorry, there was
Yes.
a technical glitch over here. So I'm sorry
Yes.
for that.
No
I believe I have reconnected, with.
No
okay.
problem. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So in Bangladesh, what I'm saying, the annual average temperature increased by 0.64% in 2018, which was more than 10 times faster than the annual average temperature increase of 0.06% in 1961. That means if the trend of increase continues like this, then in 2030, not very far, the annual average temperature of Bangladesh will increase by almost 1%. So therefore, within Bangladesh, we also need to be careful that even if you are not emitting globally, we are not that big emitter, but we should not any project that amplify effects of climate change further. So good news is this year, COP26, Bangladesh has given its updated NDC, nationally determined contribution, with a plan to ensure 40% of its energy from renewable sources by 2041. So now if you look into our renewable energy share, although my previous colleagues have been sharing the insights which are contributing, which technologies are contributing, which sectors, but still I just have to give a small glimpse that solar home systems are already our big achievement. So far, we have been installed around 6 million solar home systems. Rooftop solar systems, we are now merging with a good acceleration, because due to the net metering has already been taken place, especially the R&D sectors and the knitting factories are now going for rooftop solar with the megawatts of capacity. Solar irrigation is also doing good. Also, it is helping the poor communities of Bangladesh. Utility scale solar, so far it is not that promising. 175 megawatt have been installed, but there is good news that in the upcoming phase there will be more than 1,500 megawatt of solar plants approved by the government to be contracted to the national grid land. Another 700 megawatt is upcoming. So we can see that in terms of the RE, our utility scale solar, I mean solar IPP, can play a big role. But there issues are there. For example, land is the issue for Bangladesh, as you all know, that highly densely populated country, around 18 crores of people are living here. So utilizing land only for generate power would be very challenging for a country like us. So as Mr. Nulakar already covered that, now we are looking for some more options like floating solar. So floating solar for Bangladesh can play a big role. So currently we are in exploration of how to implement some other megawatt projects to the floating solar. So now again, coming back to the the big picture issues, if you can see that the 1.5 degrees centigrade threshold is what UN experts say we must be made to avoid dramatic acceleration of extreme climate events like drought, storms, and floods. To reach, if they recommend net zero emissions should be achieved by 2050. UN experts also said in this year COP26 that our national plans are fully implemented. The world is headed for global warming of 2.7 degrees centigrade currently, with catastrophic consequences. COP26 conference in Glasgow has been billed as the last major chance to galvanize the collective effort needed to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade. So, which scientists are calling for emissions to be cut by nearly half by 2030 to achieve that. So if you see in the Bangladeshi aspect, especially in the rural areas, there are essential ingredients to de-risking climates and development programs that are locally led and scalable, and which serve the poorest communities of Bangladesh. Also, for them, the climate crisis is a water crisis as its core. So, as the impacts of climate change are often experienced through water, more intense and more frequent floods and other pollution sources and destroy crops or homes, while longer and more frequent droughts dry up the springs many people need to survive. Millions more will struggle to grow food and maintain livestock, and it will be harder to stay healthy or even survive unless clean water and good sanitation and hygiene are not given priority. So to me, global warming is not an illusion, but a fact now. So there is no doubt it's going to change the entire system of the Earth. And if we are serious about our Earth to survive, it is very much pressing need for carbon emitting reduction at all of our sectors. So underlying challenge is now for rich countries and big emitters like China, India, Germany, US to pay their fair share for the loss and damage their carbon emissions that have caused. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zaid Alam, for your wonderful presentation and sharing your experience and insight. Before I go to the open floor discussion, I have some specific question to our panelists. I would actually start with our Senior Vice President Nur Akhtar. Actually, I just want to know you from you, sir. I would request you to kindly turn the video on, Nur Akhtar bhai. Could you please turn the video on? Yes. My specific question is like, within a few years, we have to actually reach to 3,000 megawatt. And how would it be possible? And what would be the realistic approach to achieve this 3,000 megawatt in such a short time and reply and actually respond to this climate action? Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. It's really a question, needs more elaboration, but sometimes the question we look at in a realistic way, that I think out of the many challenges, first is the realistic planning, a short planning of next 3 years, where we may target 1,000 megawatt RE in cushion, and with also energy efficiency improvement in the similar pace. After see the success of this achievement, we can really focus for the next 5 years, or what we can include in these 3 years, a comprehensive plan for 8 years. And in first stage implementation, where we need to adapt some policies which are already approved. The need is the enforcement of these policies. That net metering policy already is there, but enforcement is big issues. So some compulsion and enforcement, encouragement, recognition is required for implementing this net metering. Side by side, the good progress in the cross-border, which could actually give us a relief of thinking how we can go for faster in. And the other speaker already mentioned the floating solars and rooftop solars, irrigation, which have the equal prospect, but really commercial modeling is very important, which require the commercial bank to come forward to make a commercial modeling, business model, and it can be lucrative for the entrepreneur to invest in this sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Akhtar bhai. It was definitely, it's well noted. And my next question is to Mudassir Moin. I think our Chairman Sreda actually raised his hand. Sir, would you like to share something?
Yes, yes. Just as the issue of floating solar. Just for your information, we have already completed a study on the feasibility of floating solar with the assistance from ADB. So the report is now with us, and the first commercial project, we have taken decision that we have we will set up 50 megawatt floating solar in the water bodies of Boropukuria Coal Mining Company. It is already in principle decided. Petrobangla has already accepted the proposal. I think you will see within a shorter span of time, at least 50 megawatt floating solar.
Thank you so much, sir. And I would also request that this is an opportunity. We would actually like to also have the access to the information that you have said the study has already done. We would love to share it. If you can share it with us, the public sector, private sector would be also benefited. We will.
I believe once they set up one thing, that will act as an incentive for the others, even the private sector.
Thank you. Of course. At this point of time, right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing the good news. And at this point, I would go to our next question to our Vice President Munawar Moin Bhai, that he has actually focused on focusing on the natural resources and the natural resources for the energy access. What actually have mentioned using the focusing on the natural resources? Munawar Bhai, could you please share and explain it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dada. No, whatever we do in terms of energy, and in this case of energy access and resilience, if it does not augment the utility of our natural resources, then it does not really serve our purpose. So what I meant by that is that we are still a 65 to 70% agrarian country. So the energy access program must, or renewable energy program must actually promote the increase in output of agricultural produce in a much more efficient and clean way. So our irrigation pump would be a very good example, right? Cold storages for storing fruits and vegetables would be a good example. And talking about the 3,000 odd megawatt that we have to achieve in the next 10 years, if we all remember the figures correctly, irrigation pump itself can generate 6,000 megawatts of solar power. So Bangladesh actually has enough scope between irrigation pump, between productive uses in cold storage, charging, milk chiller, and rooftop. There is enough scope for Bangladesh to do these 3,000 and 4,000 megawatts of achievement in the next 10 years. And with the right focus, like when you are doing the rooftop, what are we doing? We are actually augmenting the skill sets of the production of that place, right? So in this case, the skill set for garment manufacturing or any other manufacturing for that matter. So as long as we focus on natural resources augmentation, and we also focus on skill set that will lead to productive use, that means that energy generation is leading to direct productive output. I hope I'm clear on that. Thank you.
So much. That was a bit technical though, but just to clarify to everyone, the audience group, I asked you this question. Thank you so much for clarifying this. My next question and the last question to the panelists would be Jahid Bhai, our Vice President Jahidul Alam. If we are really looking forward to achieving 3,000 megawatt, what would be the contribution of the utility scale upgradation, and how much they can, how actually you think that that can contribute in achieving our target? Yeah, please unmute Jayad bhai.
So thank you, Datta bhai. Since you have a question with a very importance and weight in that question. So the thing is, as you said, the question was that how much utilities solar power sector can contribute to our target 3,000 megawatt. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. So if we just see our current scenario, that recently, already there are 7 utility solar projects have been completed with a total capacity of 176 megawatt solar electricity has already connected to the grid, evacuating green power every day. So, but there are many others has already got the approval from the government, especially the Beximco already started their work on implementing the 2,000 megawatt solar power plant in Rangpur, Panchagor. So with those, when with those will be implemented within the next 2-3 years, I believe utility cells solar scale will be the major contributor towards achieving this goal, 3,000 megawatt. That's my understanding. Also, I hope that we'll see in the next 2-3 years we'll see a significant contribution from the utility cell scale solar projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wish you all the best, Jayad bhai. I'm sure that the entrepreneurs, those who are working with the utility scale, would do good and better, and will be able to reach out to our goal to 3,000 megawatt.
Let's hope for the best. Yeah, let's hope for the best.
Now the floor is open. If we have any questions from the floor and Q&A session, our speakers, our honorable president and the keynote presenter and the speakers are there. I see Farhad Haidar raised his hand. Can I ask you, sir, to unmute and directly ask the question?
Thank you very much, Datta. First of all, thank you for this wonderful presentation. I have certainly learned a lot myself, and yeah, thanks a lot. I'll add a comment first, and my question is more for Mr. Munawar, I suppose. Mr. Munawar has focused a lot on energy for resilience, and I'm aware, like developed countries now, like Go, for example, which is a company in the UK, they are looking for projects for energy for adaptation in developing countries. Right, for example, like the chillers or cold storage, to me, that can be a source of adaptation in areas of drought. So my question for Mr. Munawar is, sir, so can there be any other examples for using energy for adaptation and not just mitigation? Thank you.
Okay. All right. I do not have that adaptation mitigation definitions too clear in my mind. I can give you examples and you can help to tell us whether what makes sense, So I will be focusing on possible areas of productive use, at the last mile. So as I said, that cold chiller, cold storage is one. Then you have milk chiller, at the last mile, because the traditional milk chillers don't help in terms of milk production in the country. So the new innovative small milk chiller, which are solar powered, which can be good enough to drive milk production within a village, so that's one idea. So cold storage, milk chiller, and in terms of adaptation, so I'm not sure directly cutting to anything that leads to productive use, whether it is small factories, whether it is, in fisheries, in livestock, and that's my focus, which one leads to adaptation and which one leads to mitigation. I'm exactly not sure how to define it. And even the electric vehicle, I don't know where will that fall. The whole mass transport in the rural Bangladesh now being overwhelmingly done with electric vehicles. How can you actually bring the charging infrastructure to the last mile that is not completely grid dependent, and make it more resilient at the last mile in terms of charging and modern technology, battery leasing, which improves efficiency and cost per kilometers and things like that. So yeah, so that would be my input. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Munawar, for your quick and a short response. And we are actually almost at the end of our session. It was a 60-minute session. We have reached to 1:30. We are at the end, and of course, we have this session has been also already recorded. We will move on to the last session. I actually have shared the session output with you. I'm supposed to wrap it up and share the session output, which I have in the chat box. If you go, you'll see that I've already shared it. But still, I'll just touch upon few points from the perspective of the experience sharing. Of course, Bangladesh solar home system experience is a model that could be used in many other places, which still requires this model. Solar irrigation pump, it's a very ongoing session that we are looking forward to have more solar irrigation pumps. And of course, this will help us to reach out to our desired goal in Bangladesh. Solar rooftop scaling program, we need to scale it up. And that rooftop project is something that we are focusing into. And other renewable energy programs are there that we have also already, our speakers have mentioned, that utility scale solar power park, solar street light community-based solar program. Then we have floating solar projects. These are already been covered. So in a very short, I would also want to mention that the commitment of Bangladesh government has already been on 1st of November. Our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has already shared that the energy that by 2041 would like to reach to 40% of our total energy production into renewable energy, which is a huge milestone set. I would say that we need to, we would be able to achieve it. And it is our plan. And if you also look into the Mujib Prosperity Plan, and that is where they have mentioned, the government has already mentioned this transition is a journey from climate vulnerability to the resilience and to the prosperity. So these are the three key words: from climate vulnerable country to towards resilience, and we will reach out to prosperity. So that is what the Mujib action plan has already shared, prosperity plan. So now, from today's presentation of our keynote presenter, that the impacts that already, the energy impacts that we already see is already there: the saline water impact, the increase of river erosion, frequent cyclone, flood, and droughts, and also sea level rise, and this sort of calamities actually putting women and children into vulnerability. So these are the effects in the climate effects that we are facing now. And in the output documents, you'll see these are things I already mentioned. And the future action is already also presented in the papers, that how we can do that. But what we need most is the assistance. We found the three areas: the assistance of technological transfer, the capacity development of the human skill development, and also the funding for all these megawatt scale projects and the rooftop or solar irrigation projects that we are talking. But without the proper funding, it would be difficult for a country like Bangladesh, which is developing country, developing nation. So these are the discussion key points that actually have come up with the session and in this session, and which I have already shared in the output document, and I will also share it with South Asia Resilience Hub. They will share it with the window, the blue zone window. At this point, I would request our president, Mr. Dipal Chandra Borua, to kindly give his closing remarks and thank all for the session, for attending the session.
Thank you, Data. I congratulate you to coordinate in a nice way, and also the help from the ECAB team here, and also the international participants. And I'm very happy that our chairman Stradach joined from the Glasgow. I think this is just an issue we raise, but actually Bangladesh has a rich experience handling the climate change, and also the future, and also our Prime Minister did a very dreaming projects in Bangladesh. I think we need a policy support and the financial support, what I mentioned. I think Bangladesh is approaching in a very positive way, in a very nationalistic way. I believe Bangladesh not cause for global warming, but we can demonstrate for quality life of Bangladeshis and also demonstrate for other people. So I'm happy to be part of this session and happy to participate here and acknowledge the support from the ICAD and others. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Without any more time, because we are actually have overshoot for like 5-6 minutes. I think that is acceptable for any session. With this word, I'd like to thank everyone. Special thanks to South Asia Regional Resilience Hub. Special thanks to ICAD, the co-organizer of this session. I'd like to thank also special thanks to our, I think Celine, who has organized the session for us, virtual session for us. And,
you're welcome.
And also Mr. Fahad for everything. Thank you so much. With this, can we close it down? Celine, would you like to share something?
No, I have just put out a tweet, but I couldn't find a tweet address for BSREA.
Okay.
But I put it under ICAD and under the Resilience Hub, so you should find it.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
I'll do that.